Dr. Andre Pocock, why is the visa bond so necessary? Why is it such a necessary step in tackling immigration abuse in UK?
Baker, thank you. Let me try and do two things. One is to explain what the bond is, and secondly, to try and put it into perspective. What I would say is that no final decision has been made on any of this. The details of a pilot scheme are being worked out. And if the pilot were to go ahead in Nigeria, it would affect only a very small number of what we see as the highest risk visitors. So the vast majority of Nigerians would not be required to pay a bond, and those who did pay a bond would get the money back if they stuck with the terms of their visa.
Don't you think this might be like begging the question and a discriminatory policy for those who may not be able to afford the £3,000, as this implies that if you can afford the £3,000, then you could afford to break the immigration law in UK?
No, not at all. In fact, the £3,000 is a penalty for violation. And of course, there are other penalties for violation, including arrest and deportation in extreme cases. No, the idea of the bond would be to deter people from overstaying.
Now, this is coming at a time when the diplomats of the Commonwealth of Nations have agreed to bring down visa barriers of the Commonwealth of Nations. Isn't this a setback?
No, because the Commonwealth scheme would apply, if it goes ahead, only to holders of diplomatic passports. So that is a very small fraction of traveling Nigerians. What we're talking about are, and indeed, people with diplomatic passports are almost automatically not in a high-risk category. So we would be talking about people that have normal passports who might be tempted to abuse their visa terms.
Is the UK not in any way scheming to build up its revenue base?
Well, I wouldn't say we're scheming to build up our revenue base. I'm saying, what I would say is the British economy, of course, is looking to grow as everybody else's economy is doing. We're looking to encourage growth and economic activity. But if there's a suggestion that by taking £3,000 off a very few visitors, that would contribute in any way to British economic growth, well, that is simply not the case. The numbers are involved are so tiny that it simply wouldn't be feasible. So this is not a revenue-raising issue. It is an issue that is intended, if it goes ahead, to deter visa abuse. Simply that.
Now, from your press release just some few days ago, you said that this is targeted at just a tiny population of these countries. But with such a tiny population, why is such a tiny population affecting such a bold policy in UK?
But what I'm talking about is in the context of a pilot scheme. So we don't know if this is going ahead in the first place, and we don't know what scale the pilot scheme will be, and we don't know yet to which countries it will apply. Part of the problem with this is a media leak in advance of any policy decisions.
Now, will the student population also be affected with this policy?
Student visas are quite different from visit visas. Visit visas are frequently for a short period, and that is when overstaying takes place. Student visas are frequently for longer periods because people are going for study. Now, there might be some risk of overstaying in certain cases, but that is something that would have to be decided, I think, case by case.